Laquelle de ces trois affirmations a le plus de chances d'être fausse? Jésus était noir. Les Noirs ont créé et construit les pyramides. Ou les Noirs ont créé le hockey. Alors laquelle de ces trois affirmations est la plus absurde? On se revoit à la fin de l'émission. Mesdames et messieurs, garçons et filles de tous les âges, ici James Lescaut en direct de Montréal. Aujourd'hui, je vais vous informer de quelque chose que vous ne saviez pas. C'est quelque chose de très intéressant.
There are still a few great hockey debates out there, like who's the greatest goalie of all time, or the greatest team. That might just be the Montreal Canadiens 1976-77. How about who invented the slap shot? It's Boom Boom Geoffrion of the Bleu Blanc et Rouge, right? Or was it? It might just have been Eddie Martin of the Halifax Eureka's more than 100 years ago. Eddie played in what was called the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes, made up primarily of the sons and grandsons of escaped American slaves. Goalies throwing themselves onto the ice. And economic pressures. And it folded in 1925 after 30 years.
Bon, pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas Ken Dryden, il est membre du Temple de la renommée de hockey. C'est un sénateur canadien. Il était dans le cabinet du ministre Paul Martin.
22 years before the birth of the NHL.
L'histoire du hockey, mesdames et messieurs.
The sport of hockey has been around for centuries. Known to be fast-paced and physical, it is played on ice either outdoors or in a rink. The skaters on each team would use sticks to hit a rubber puck into the opponent's nets, guarded by a goaltender. Despite it being a very popular sport throughout the European countries, Canada declared it as their national winter sport. This professional game originated in the US in 1904. It became prominent in Canada during the 20th century before expanding back into the US. The National Hockey Association, created by Ambrosia O'Brien and his father in 1910, later created the National Hockey League, or the NHL. In 1783, 123 years before the NHL was established, approximately 3,000 African Americans, or black loyalists, who supported the British during the American Revolution, arrived in Nova Scotia. They were repatriated to British Canada at the end of the conflict. Many settled in Nova Scotia, which became the largest concentration of black residents in Canada. The Loyalists fought for Great Britain for their freedom after Lord Dunmar's proclamation, promising freedom to all Virginia slaves who supported Britain. Black pioneers were led by Colonel Stephen Block to the new settlement, later named Birchtown. The Colored Hockey League was established in 1894, 22 years before the NHL. It had dozens of teams with over 400 African Canadian players from Nova Scotia. Men like Henry Sylvester Williams, a Trinidadian lawyer, was involved in Pan-African movements, had a hand in creating the league for the purpose of developing black pride. The Colored Hockey League has been credited for many things in the development of the sport, one being the goaltender was allowed to leave his feet to cover the puck in 1900. This particular practice was not allowed until the NHL was formed in 1917. Also, the slap shot was done first by an African Canadian named Eddie Martin.
But we never talk about the game of ice hockey. When the first black was the leading scorer in the National Hockey League, they said we couldn't even play, but that's all right. We've been playing a long time. When we started was in 1895, and we had a 30-team league that ran from 1895 to 1925, and that's when Conn Smythe, as well as Creighton from Nova Scotia, who knew about the Black Hockey League, that's when they decided to interject their racism and their talk. One, Creighton knew of the 30 black teams because he was from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it was the origin of ice hockey. He knew that if he turned around and would sell this game the other way, it would go that way. And he ended up going into Ottawa. They never started playing hockey until 1911 and 12 on the Rideau Canal in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Blacks had been playing from 1895 all the way to 1930 and were still excluded, and never white teams would ever play them. This tells you a story in a sense. We have lived a long time, but we have not been truthful to one another. I welcome to be able to talk to my brothers and sisters in the United States and tell them what it's like being a black man and staying in hockey 60 years and putting 70 young white players in the National Hockey League, which 15 of them went on to win the Stanley Cup and have their name engraved on them. And never receive a dime.
What?
For all that I did. I haven't even hardly got a thank you.
Oh, no.
The owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Conn Smythe, said, I will pay any man $10,000. If you can paint him white, he will be playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. What statement does that say? Sound racist?
It's beyond racist.
This was done by an Army major in the First World War. Conn Smythe was an Army major in the First World War. Yeah, he built Toronto Maple Leaf Garden off of borrowed money, $150,000, and made it into the heaven that he is. But what he did was he excluded a black man because of his race. And it says in Canada, when you're free, they can't use race against you to keep you from any sport or any other activity.
Right.
But they did it. They blackballed him. He never played in the National Hockey League. And he was in the top 3 players in Canada at that time. Between 1940 and 1945, Herbie Carnegie was one of the best hockey players and best black players that never got here. And that's a shame.
Because according to Conn Smythe, I would take Carnegie tomorrow for the Maple Leafs if someone can turn them white. Now, I got that statement when I was 18. How would you feel? I can't forget it because he cut my knees off. He broke my legs. It's horrible. So I don't want people to go through that. I can go back to that very moment when Ed Willie had me at the side of the boards and telling me the story. I'm sorry. I love the game, and I feel cheated. I didn't get the chance to prove myself wrong. I just had a door closed where I couldn't participate.
It is a testament to Mr. Carnegie's strength of character that he did not let what happened embitter him for the rest of his life. Instead, he used it as motivation to try and affect change, to try and make things better. His efforts worked, and he's being recognized. This school, being built just north of Toronto, is being named in his honor.
L'un des rares joueurs noirs à faire sa marque dans le hockey organisé, déclenche une belle montée pour les Arts.
Carnegie moves on and now plays with the Quebec Aces. And one day, he welcomes a rookie, a kid named Béliveau.
Herbie est un grand monsieur. Il était, non seulement par son jeu, mais son comportement, très apprécié par la population de Québec. Il était, 10 ans plus âgé que moi. J'ai certainement appris des choses de lui par la façon qu'il se comportait. Herbie, sur la glace, était un joueur assez spectaculaire, un bon manieur de bâton. J'en avais parlé peut-être qu'il irait jouer avec les Rangers de New York, mais ça s'est jamais produit. Il était noir. Est-ce que ça lui a nui? Il y en a qui prétendent, d'autres non.
Jean Beliveau will graduate from the Aces to become a legend with the Montreal Canadiens. But for Herb Carnegie, there is no next step. He'll never make it to the NHL.
Here's a man, a gentleman, plays the game as well as anyone else. And the thing is this, they're saying everything is equal here. All the opportunities, all you need to do is be qualified. You're qualified, you're knocking at the door, you can get in, and yet there's a sport, national sport of Canada. What do you have to do to get in? If Herb Carnegie cannot make it, what does a black man have to do to get through this door?
It will be another 10 years before the door finally opens. In 1958, Willie O'Ree is signed by Boston and plays 45 games with the Bruins. Hockey has earned the distinction of being the last major professional sport to integrate black athletes.